The galaxy waited for the annual Grand Council to begin. The meeting took place on a massive floating station near the Triumph Verge, a place where thousands of ships came and went every hour. For years, this council claimed to protect peace, but today everyone knew the real topic. It was written on every screen and whispered in every corner. The Deathworlders. The humans. Inside the main chamber, seats were filled with alien rulers, military officers, and ambassadors. Some were tall and thin with glowing skin, some were insect-like, and others looked like walking stone. But almost all shared one expression: arrogance. Commander Vurak of the Zelth Empire tapped his claws on the table and spoke loudly so the cameras would catch every word. "Let us begin with the greatest danger to the galaxy," he said. "The humans continue to break natural order. They survive every environment, they expand too fast, and they refuse to obey proper authority. They must be contained." A few aliens clapped. Many laughed. High Chancellor Yalara, the one who always called humans wild animals, stood next. Her voice was sharp like cutting metal. "Deathworlders must accept control. They are not advanced. They are not disciplined. They are only strong because their planet tries to kill them every day. They should thank us for even allowing them to sit in this council." The hall erupted in more laughter. News drones recorded everything. The broadcast was being transmitted live across thousands of worlds. Billions watched it in real time, including humans. The insults did not stop. A short alien with 6 eyes stepped forward. "Their ships are slow and ugly. Their technology is old. They only win fights because they are desperate creatures. If we put rules on them, they must obey. If not," he shrugged, "we remove their fleets." The laughter grew louder. Some aliens pounded the table in amusement. They enjoyed attacking humanity without fear of response. Then the doors at the back of the chamber slid open. The laughter died instantly. 3 humans walked in, slow, calm, but confident. They wore simple navy uniforms marked with a small symbol, a silver earth surrounded by 12 stars. At the front was Captain Reese, a quiet man with sharp eyes and a steady posture that made everyone sit straighter without knowing why. His boots clicked against the floor as he reached the center of the room. The cameras zoomed in. The entire galaxy watched. Chancellor Yalara smirked at him. "Oh, look. The animals arrived." A few aliens chuckled again, but this time, the sound was weaker. Something about the humans' presence made the air heavy. Captain Reese placed his hands behind his back and looked at the council, not with anger, but with calm disappointment. "I listened to your words," he said in a steady voice. "Every insult. Every threat. And I say this clearly so the galaxy understands." The hall felt suddenly cold. "We do not answer insults with arguments," Reese continued. "We do not react to threats with fear. Humans have survived our planet, our wars, our storms. We do not bow to arrogance." Murmurs spread across the room. No one expected such a direct response. Chancellor Yalara stood again, trying to regain control. "Deathworlder, you misunderstand. We do not negotiate with you. You follow our terms, or you face consequences." Captain Reese tilted his head slightly. "And who will enforce those consequences?" Silence fell. No one moved. The question felt like a blade cutting through the air. "Humans are not your servants," Reese said. "We are not your soldiers. And we are not afraid of you." The broadcast cameras locked onto his face. Billions of humans watching across Earth, Mars, Titan, and the outer colonies felt something rise in their chests: pride. Reese took one step closer to the center platform. "For every insult you spoke today," he said, "we will answer with action, not words. Remember this." Before anyone could reply, he turned and walked out. The human delegation followed him without hesitation. The doors closed behind them. The council chamber burst into chaos. Some aliens shouted for immediate action. Others whispered in fear. Some demanded humans be punished. But the broadcast had already reached every corner of space. On Earth's moon, miners stopped working and stared at the screen. On Mars, engineers froze as the message played again and again. On Titan, soldiers watched in silence, their jaws tight. The galaxy wanted to humiliate humans. Instead, the broadcast awakened something. A warning. A promise. A storm. The Deathworlders had enough. And their fleet was rising. Across human space, the broadcast replayed again and again. It echoed through mining tunnels on Mars, crowded transport stations on Earth, frozen bases on Titan, and dusty outposts near the belt. Everywhere, the reaction was the same. Not shouting. Not anger. Just a deep, cold silence. People watched aliens mock the very species that crawled out of storms, volcanoes, deserts, and oceans. Aliens laughed at the endurance of a species that had crossed thousands of years of war and still stood united. A message formed in every human heart. Enough. At the Seoul Defense Command headquarters, Admiral Suri stood alone in her office, reviewing the broadcast. The insults did not interest her. What captured her attention was the moment Captain Reese asked. And who will enforce those consequences? Suri replayed the moment multiple times. His steady confidence was not disrespect, it was a final warning before something greater. An alarm beeped. A communication request. She answered. Admiral, all sectors are demanding your stance, a voice said. Civilian stations want to know if Earth intends to respond. Suri did not speak at first. She looked at the hologram map of human space, the dozens of colonies spread across dangerous zones humans alone dared to settle. Every one of them depended on Earth's strength. Today, that strength was being challenged. She straightened her coat. Prepare an emergency assembly, she ordered. Full command. Within minutes, every high-ranking officer of the Deathworlder forces joined the meeting, admirals, generals, fleet architects, and intelligence leaders. Their faces appeared as holograms around the war table. Suri opened the meeting with a simple phrase. You all saw the broadcast. No one spoke. They only nodded. They believe humans are weak, she continued. They think they can control us. They think pressure will make us bend. General Malik, commander of Titan's ground forces, leaned forward. It has always been like this. For years they pushed slowly. Small attacks. Trade pressure. Travel restrictions. They think we will break. Admiral Suri looked around the room. Will we? A single word echoed from every officer. No. Suri placed her hand on the table. A new hologram rose, one that had not been shown publicly for years, the Soul Fury Fleet, humanity's secret armada. Most officers already knew of its existence. But seeing its full size displayed at once made the temperature of the room shift. Even the calmest commanders felt a pulse of pride. Rows of dreadnoughts with armored plating. Carrier ships holding hundreds of fighters. Massive rail cannon cruisers capable of cracking an asteroid. Black Ops stealth destroyers never before activated. Ships with experimental drives never shown to the galaxy. Humanity never shared its real strength. Not until now. General Malik crossed his arms. So the rumors were true. Humanity has a hidden armada. Suri nodded. We have been preparing for years. Not for war, but for survival. Today, we stop tolerating their arrogance. Today, we make our stance clear. She tapped the table. All fleets, activate. Silent formation. No broadcasts, no announcement. We move the moment the order comes. The officers exchanged looks, not fearful, but steady. Humans did not rush into conflict. They measured their steps. They remembered every wound given to them over the years. Every insult. Every attack. This time, the answer would not be quiet. Suri ended the meeting. The activation sequence began. Across the Sol system, thousands of humans watched as orbital docks opened. Giant mechanical arms released warships that had been locked away for decades. Blue thrusters lit up the darkness of space. Engines warmed like sleeping beasts awakening. In 1 hour, the quiet space around Earth transformed into a rising storm. Miners on Mars recorded the moment the first battleships took off, huge shadows moving through red dust. Workers on the belt cheered as Earth carriers crossed their sector, glowing like floating cities. Children on Titan pointed at the sky as dreadnoughts rose like silver mountains. And throughout the galaxy, alien sensor networks began to panic. Alarms blared. Scouts sent urgent messages. The arrogant leaders who insulted humans just hours ago froze when they realized what was happening. One alien council member whispered, voice trembling. Why are the Deathworlders moving their entire fleet? Another replied. This is not a defense formation. They are preparing for war. But it was too late. The Deathworlders had already made their decision. They would no longer wait. They would no longer endure insults. They would no longer be pushed back. A message spread through every human ship, every colony, every outpost. Humanity does not bow. And for the first time, the galaxy felt fear, not of human brutality, but of human unity. The storm was rising. Alien empires always believed they understood human strength. They measured humanity by old battles, outdated weapons, and incomplete intelligence reports. They thought humans were reckless but predictable. Tough, yes, dangerous, maybe, but not powerful enough to threaten the great empires that ruled the galaxy. They were wrong. When the Sol Fury fleet finally rose in full formation, the galaxy saw something it had never seen before. The first wave appeared around Earth, 12 dreadnoughts arranged in a perfect line. Their hulls were dark silver, covered in armor that looked almost alive. Faint blue energy pulsed under the plating, giving each ship a heartbeat-like glow. Behind them came the carriers. Giant floating cities, each holding over 1,000 fighters inside hidden hangars. Their engines shone like miniature suns. Then came the destroyers, fast, sharp, built with new stealth alloys. Their surfaces absorbed light, making them look like moving shadows. Finally, the cruisers arrived. Each one carried a rail cannon that could tear a moon in half. And this was only the first phase. More fleets emerged from Titan, Mars, Europa, and deep belt shipyards that aliens never knew existed. Secret bases humans built quietly over decades were suddenly alive with power. In the command center on Earth's orbit, Admiral Suri watched the formation with calm eyes. Her officers kept whispering reports. Sector 3, all ships online. Stealth division ready for jump. Rail batteries charged. Carrier-class engines stable. Suri nodded once at each update. Everything was moving according to a plan only a few humans ever knew. Meanwhile, across alien space, panic spread like wildfire. In the Zelth Empire, an entire council room fell silent as they studied the sensor readings. This cannot be correct, a scout officer stammered. Their fleet size is impossible. Another officer leaned closer. They hid this? All these years? What species builds an armada this large in secret? One old chancellor whispered the answer. A species that expected to be betrayed. Even more shocking than the size was the discipline. The human fleet moved with perfect coordination. Not one ship drifted out of line. Not one pilot panicked. Every vessel followed a silent pattern, as if they were one living creature. No other species in the galaxy could do this. Back at the Grand Council Station, the same place where aliens openly mocked humans just hours ago, the mood shifted from arrogance to fear. Diplomats who laughed earlier now argued loudly. Contact Earth immediately. Tell them we want peace. It was only political talk. They should not react like this. We cannot fight this fleet. Look at the scans. But every message sent to human space received the same response. Silence. Humanity was not interested in apologies. Inside the council chamber, a younger alien delegate trembled and asked, "Why are the humans not answering us?" Counselor Kareth, usually proud and loud, could only stare at the screen as more human ships entered formation. Because, he whispered, for the first time, they do not need to. Meanwhile, on Earth's moon base, Captain Reese, the man who faced the council, the same man the aliens laughed at, stood on a balcony watching the departing ships. He felt no pride. He felt no triumph. Only clarity. They pushed too far, he said quietly. They thought patience was weakness. A young officer beside him asked, "Sir, what do we tell the colonies?" Reese looked at the glowing armada rising toward the stars. "Tell them the truth. Humanity is done being insulted. We rise now, not for revenge, but for respect." The officer nodded and ran to relay the message. Across the Sol system, human civilians gathered near screens, windows, observatories, and rooftops. They watched the fleet disappear into hyperspace, leaving trails of blue light behind. No cheering. No celebration. Just a calm acceptance. This was necessary. This was overdue. For years, humans tried to negotiate, tried to fit in, tried to hold peace with a galaxy that never stopped testing their limits. But today was a turning point. For the first time, the galaxy saw the truth that humans had hidden. Deathworlders were not dangerous because of their strength. They were dangerous because of their discipline. As the fleet moved toward the Grand Council station, every alien empire prepared defenses. Shields activated. Weapons charged. Escape pods were readied. But deep inside, they all knew the same thing. They were not ready for this. No one was. The Deathworlder fleet, the fleet that should not exist, was coming. And every empire prayed it would stop. The Grand Council station floated in silent orbit above a blue star, its metallic rings glowing weakly as thousands of alien ships crowded around it. Hours earlier, these ships moved with confidence. They believed their fleets were strong. They believed humanity would stay quiet. They believed the Deathworlders feared them. Now, every ship drifted like a frightened animal sensing a coming storm. Alarms echoed across the station. Engine cores burned at full power. Shields flickered to maximum strength. And still, the aliens knew, nothing would be enough. The first human fleet arrived without a sound. A ripple of blue light split the darkness, and 12 Earth dreadnoughts emerged from hyperspace, their armored hulls shining like giant iron giants. Their cannons glowed faintly along their sides, and their engines pulsed like the heartbeat of a titan. Alien officers froze. They are already here. Before they could react, more human ships followed. Destroyers, cruisers, carriers, stealth ships, forming a perfect circle around the station. No gaps. No escape. One alien commander shouted, "Raise weapon systems." Another yelled, "Prepare to fire." But the council leader, Chancellor Yalara, who insulted humans earlier, collapsed into her seat, trembling. "No," she whispered. "If we fire, we die." Inside the station's war room, panic spread like wildfire. "Signal them. Tell them we want peace. Send apologies. Send everything. De-escalate. De-escalate immediately." But human channels remained quiet. Dead quiet. Admiral Suri stood at the front of the human flagship, her eyes locked on the giant station. Captain Reese stood beside her, calm as ever. "Is the formation complete?" Suri asked. "Every ship is in position," Reese replied. No one moves without your command. Suri nodded once. Begin the strike. But the strike was not what the galaxy expected. The first action was not a weapon. It was a single warning shot, fired across the station's front. A beam of blue light flashed past the alien hull, so close it scraped the shields. The impact shook the entire structure, sending alarms screaming. Aliens screamed, cried, panicked, but no one fired back. Admiral Suri opened communication to the entire galaxy. Her voice was steady, powerful, and impossible to ignore. This is Admiral Suri of the Deathworlder Defense Command. Every species froze. Billions watched. For years, you pushed humanity. You mocked us. You threatened us. You told us to bow. Her eyes hardened. We do not bow. The human fleet rotated, its cannons aligning perfectly toward the alien dreadnoughts. One wrong move, and an entire empire would fall. You believed our patience was weakness, Suri continued. You believed insults would break us. But know this. Her voice dropped to a cold whisper. Deathworlders endure. Deathworlders rise. And when we rise, nothing stops us. Inside the council chamber, delegates trembled. No one dared challenge her. Then Admiral Suri issued the final warning. This is your last chance. Stand down. Or this station becomes space dust. The galaxy held its breath. Chancellor Yalara, who laughed at humans earlier, forced herself to stand. Her legs shook, and her hands were cold. I formally surrender on behalf of the Grand Council, she said, voice cracking. We apologize for our insults. We recognize humanity as an equal, no, as a superior force. Her words echoed through the hall. No one argued. No one protested. No one even breathed. Every alien ship powered down its weapons. Shields dropped. Engines dimmed. For the first time in galactic history, every major empire bowed, not because they wanted peace, but because they had no choice. Humans had shown a level of discipline, unity, and power no species had ever faced. The strike was complete. Not through destruction, but through dominance. The communication ended. The human fleet slowly withdrew. Inside the flagship, Captain Reese turned to Suri. You think they learned their lesson? He asked. Suri took a deep breath. They will remember this moment for 1,000 years, she said. And if they forget? She looked out at the powerful fleet drifting through space. We will remind them. Across human space, billions watched the fleet return home. There was no victory celebration. Humans did not celebrate war. They celebrated survival. The Deathworlders proved one truth. Humanity does not seek war. But if forced, humanity becomes the storm. And the galaxy would never forget it.